All right, I think we are live. Hey guys, Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics. I guess I should have started with this. Still learning. Waiting on Alex, actually. Hopefully he can see the live stream and join us here any moment now. Maybe that's him writing me. Alrighty, guys. This is Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics. Many of you guys know us from our weekly videos where we make videos showing you guys the kind of money that customers make, our carrier and owner-operator customers, and also, cover some news, cover some information that might be helpful and useful to you guys as carriers and owner-operators. A lot of times, brand new trucking companies. Looks like the camera's a little crooked again. Let's see if I can fix that for you. Let's see if we can do it. See, look at that. I guess that's a little better. All right. Well, that'll have to do. Well, guys, as we wait for Alex, my trusty assistant, jump in. How's it going, Adam? Adam Wood's in the house. We got a few viewers adding in. The cool thing I was thinking about today before I started the show was that how cool it is that truckers are always moving around. So, for example, I have the hardest time targeting advertising, right? It's extremely difficult. Any other market, any other industry outside of trucking, you can say, a male or a female within this age in this city, target this state, target this city, target, this geolocation, but not with truckers. We're always moving around. So all my analytics are always all over the place. And there are some things I just cannot rely on for good data. But hopefully you guys are doing well. Let's see if Alex will respond to us. He's still on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know what's going on there. All righty, see if he sends us a message or not. Nonetheless, I wanted to get started with you guys. If you have any questions that we can cover, I know that I was reviewing some of the comments in some of the previous videos and some of the lives. To start with, we don't work with hot shots, LTL, box trucks, straight trucks, small RGNs, and what have you, Sprinter vans. None of that stuff. So I consider all that to be last mile. I consider that to be local work, and at best regional. And outside of that, we only work with semis, trucks, and trailers. We don't do power only, not anymore. The market does not support that. I recently had some comments, kind of disagreeing with my post from 3 years ago. And that's the thing. 3 years ago, that's a totally different market. And even then I was saying, stay away from power only, and people, don't listen. You really want to have a truck and a trailer. Sometimes I see guys spend all their money on the truck and then forget to get the trailer. Remember, it's going to be really difficult your first 2 years in renting a trailer. So in any case, we've got some viewers out here. Guys, if you have any questions whatsoever, things that maybe you're struggling with, maybe there are things that you could be doing better. What are some of the barriers to entry that you're feeling? I mean, I know that as new carriers, a lot of guys are getting denied by brokers. If you're 0 to 30 days, you have pretty much no one to work with. If once you're 30 to 60, it's a different story. 0 to 30 is just awful. And that continues to small increments up until your first year, until you really see a difference and your insurance costs go down, et cetera, and you can kind of negotiate better with brokers and, and get yourself set up. But there are other things that surely you guys are running into, other problems. Carrier, sure. We've wrote blog posts about that, quite detailed, and what you can do to improve your scores. You should at least know where you stand. You should have some connections with brokers that you're good friends with, and they're willing to give you some of this information, some insight. Mr. David Riverman. Yeah, looking forward to a good show. So am I. I'm looking forward to seeing Alex jump in. He had told me he's got a little agenda that he wanted to run on today's show. Had some ideas that he's going to kind of work out. And I've been busy running a lot of accounting. A lot of you guys may have received an invoice from me, but it wasn't an invoice. It was actually a receipt for older transactions. So just be aware those are not charges. Don't anticipate that or anything like that. Those are just receipts. That's all those are. So unfortunately, I didn't get too much ready for you guys, and you can tell because I didn't have music at the beginning. I was planning to have a new track every time we do a show, have a new kind of cool track out there, and it would be kind of nice to do that. And I'm a big fan of music, and it would be nice to have different intros. Nonetheless, guys, there are definitely some things we could cover. For example, I was looking up today the the LMI numbers, Logistics Managers Index. I was really looking forward to seeing February. That'd be really important. We are going to get that, but they didn't upload the information yet. It's still too early into the month. Let's see if we can pop up here, open up. What do we got here? And let's hit Chrome. Where's my Chrome? And we can jump in on some of this news here. There was a couple of articles. There was a few articles that were actually listed with Freight Waves. These guys do some really excellent coverage. I don't always agree with them, but they definitely have fantastic leadership and excellent coverage. I also had a really funny video for those of you guys who are actually watching instead of listening. That's what I thought this show would be kind of nice to have because you guys would be listeners or you'd be able to rewind and view this in the future. I just got to figure out how I can play this video, and hopefully the copyright guys won't disagree. I think this should be just fine. Let's see.
Well, Georgia senators are working.
Let's see if we can show you guys this video. I'm really excited. Let's see. Chrome. Okay. So I guess I did that wrong. Bear with me, guys. 30 seconds. Once I get it set up, then it's going to work. Let's see. As you can see, it. There we go. So this is what we're going to do. Boom. And we're going to turn it on here for you. All right. So check it out. And you should get the audio. I guess I can't zoom in anymore. Well, you should get the audio. Take a listen, and if you can, watch.
Well, Georgia senators are working to limit the ability of people to sue insurance companies directly in lawsuits over trucking accidents. So the Senate voted 46-2 to pass the bill, sending it to the House for more debate. The measure says someone could only sue an insurance company directly when the trucking company has gone bankrupt or when the plaintiff can't find the driver or the company. Supporters say that this change would result in lower insurance rates for truckers. They argue current rates on the trucking companies are just too high. Well, Georgia senators are working to...
Now, I do agree that trucking insurance premiums are way too high. I do agree there. I think most people would definitely agree. Lo Gerardo, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I definitely agree on that, but what I don't agree on is on the utility of an insurance policy that doesn't begin to have any sort of coverages until you have basically they can't find you or you've gone out of business and you're bankrupt. I mean, in all other instances, you would have to pay. So what is the point of insurance? Because this is even worse than a deductible. This is worse than a maximum on your out-of-pocket expenses like in the medical insurance. At least my basic understanding of this, since I don't deal with insurance, but my basic understanding of insurance is that it should be there. That's why you pay into this premium that, God forbid, something does happen, that you're not in this position. So definitely an interesting approach to what they are trying to do. And I know that something will change because over the years they've had so many attempts going back for well over 10 years, constant attempts to increase insurance coverages. So to have the minimum auto liability portion of your insurance policy going from minimum $750,000 that is currently where everybody basically has $1 million policy anyway. But nonetheless, they wanted it to go to like 2 million, 3 million, and as high as 7.5. Now, there were some like really insane ones, I believe somewhere in like the $14 million range. But can you imagine the premiums on something like that? Can you imagine the lawsuits? Can you imagine what would happen if just any sort of a run-in tiny situation happens on a road? People will just be constantly trying to milk the system, thus having the truckers, once again, not only have to put in the work to bring all the food and all the things that we need, but also be the ones who have to cover the difference in insurance premiums. So absolutely. Hey there, D64 Falcon, finally made it to live. Nice show, guys. Thank you very much. Still waiting on my trusted assistant. He's not quite assisting me at the moment, so that's why I'm struggling for words. But we do have a few different things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. There have been impacts with this deep freeze. This is one of the stories that Freight Waves is covering, and they're basically talking about some of the situation with January's weather and the capacity and how it affected the markets and basically, guys, what we're looking at. And there was actually a piece of data that I really wanted to provide you guys some time back. That had come up and saved the summer, couldn't come up with it. But what it was a very, very good, and I will find it, and then I will definitely make sure to bring this up for you guys. But it was giving us a very, very clear graphing, like these charts, for example. Let's take a look. How do we get rid of me? Right here. Here we go. No, I think this will do it right here. So just like Freight Waves has these charts. Now, a lot of these charts were of different data for the same exact period of time. So it was already pre-segmented for a period of time and actually being compared to that same time year to year past. And it was a clear indicator that we are bottoming out. We are finally bottoming out and getting into position to actually start reaping the benefits. I'm still sticking to this actually being the bottom out, where it's actually going to start coming in and up into the spring season. Now, a lot of people are actually saying the polar opposite of that. They're saying don't expect anything good whatsoever. Nothing looks good until about the first half of the year is over, maybe into the second half, starting summer, things like that. I'd like to be more hopeful than that because, again, there are, and that's where the LMI matters so much. We don't have the data. Had we had the data right now, we could actually compare it to January data, or we could compare it to February data in March, and then see where we are and where are the indicators. Like, is capacity for warehousing becoming more expensive? Is the capacity becoming more available? Is inventory going down? The January weather, the storms, the higher rates that we're paying out, did that also include a large movement of volume that actually got rid of a lot of freight? Because right now, I actually saw a video by a gentleman out in China who was on one of these giant ships that bring in all the freight. And what he was talking about, he was just kind of panning through the entire sea, and he was saying, look, it's just my ship here. And then he found a couple more, and he said, listen, if you guys go back and watch some of our previous videos about this time last year, this whole place, he said, we're constantly having to be waiting in water just to get a spot. For days, they would spend days and weeks just waiting for spots, and now it was just completely open. So basically, there were no freight ships out there. And so, I'm hopeful that is currently in transit and coming in, and that's the freight that's going to be moving into the West Coast. In the video that we've talked about, how a lot of that is shifting from the East Coast to the West Coast. So I'm hoping that it's not just a shift of the same exact freight, but I'm hoping that it's more stuff coming in, and that it will be, finally beneficial to the truckers and the logistics, the trucking industry ultimately, because the supply chain definitely needs a really strong push to be able to get to where we need to go. Guys, any questions, anything we can help you guys out with? As you know, we're a truck dispatch company. We're a dispatch company. We also work with A2C Logistics, leasing on owner-operators. They have, really cool terms. They're really cool. I guess I can say family-run business. It's a, medium-sized company. They're definitely not a huge company with, hundreds or thousands of trucks. But so definitely there's that personal attention. Anyone's ever worked with Kevin has talked to the guy on the phone who's worked with him personally. If you've ever taken you out to lunch or something like that, this is not just another trucking company, a totally different experience. And same thing with us, with Dispatch, A2C Logistics, and AFT Dispatch. We've been doing this for a very, very long time, guys. We can help you if you have your own MC, if you're willing to work. As I say in all the videos, if you're really ready and you're coachable and you want to make it work. This constantly happens, at least several times a year, where we're really focused on a few carriers and we work with them to try to figure out where we can plug some holes, especially during a bad market. Is super important. But generally, it comes down to just operating costs, right? So help yourself, by reducing those operating costs. Find ways in order to increase your gross income every week. and reduce your costs. And you're going to be doing the very best that you can out of the market that you find yourself in, and keep your head above water. And depending on where your operating costs are, you might even find yourself being quite profitable. I've seen a number of carriers, I should say, who've actually expanded their fleets during these past couple of years and actually added trucks. I've also seen guys with one truck that just couldn't make it. So again, every time it comes down to your operating costs. So definitely let us know if there are any questions, anything that we can kind of help you guys out, answer some questions for you guys. Something else that I should probably, let me see if I can throw this up here on the screen as well. Maybe this will work. Yeah, there you go. This should work as well. So here we go. So this is right here. Boom. I thought this was really interesting. Where's my Chrome? There it is. Okay, so good. My head's not covering everything. Let's get rid of that header. Okay, here we go, guys. So more government jobs were added last year than manufacturing, transportation, warehousing, mining, and construction combined. All right. So as you can see on here, and I think I can actually zoom in on this one, but it's pretty clear that government was the biggest growth that we saw. Hospitality, and of course, construction. Mining, barely anything. Manufacturing is probably flat, and then transportation and warehousing has actually seen a decline. Now, the story that I wanted to show you guys, and I don't know if it's true or not, and that's why I wasn't sure about posting some of this stuff, was a story about our current administration opening up 5,000 positions for CDL truck drivers coming in from over the southern border in order to fill the truck driver shortage. All right. Now, before you guys eat me alive for saying truck driver shortage, I know where you stand. The question is, where does our government stand on this? I don't understand how we can fill a shortage. It has been clearly established when it comes to smaller trucking companies, there is no shortage. The only shortage that is seen is by the large companies. And if those companies just treated people like human beings and not numbers and actually paid them a living wage. We wrote an article. I'm going to see if I can find it for you guys, but we wrote an article on our blog. I apologize. There's Alex. He'll probably be with us shortly as soon as he can. We wrote an article on our post on our blog about how the BLS or the Bureau of Labor Statistics talked about how much truckers really make and how ultimately truckers have a higher salary than the national average by far. And all of that is true, absolutely. But the problem is that truckers don't make that much because the BLS did, in their infinite wisdom, if you will, divided the number by 40 hours like they do for the rest of the world. And guess what? Those of you guys who are not in trucking, here's the thing. Truckers work a 70-hour work week. So they work nearly twice as much as any other normal human being, right? And in other countries, people work actually less than 40 hours. But, I have no problem, no gripes with a 40-hour work week. What I do have a gripe with is that when the BLS actually accounts for 40-hour work week, which actually came out to be just over $15 an hour. And those of you who know or live in those states, some states have a state minimum wage of $15 an hour. So truckers are out there working a ton of hours, 70 hours a work week, barely breaking minimum wage. I apologize. I'm trying to do 10 things at the same time and see if I can add Alex into our webcam. There he is. Let's see if we can do it. There's the man. There he is.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, thank you for joining us. Say that one more time. I think your voice is coming through the wrong speakers. Let me go ahead and adjust that. Maybe I need to. Can you say something, Alex, just so I can catch you here? Okay, there it is. All right, here we are. So I should be able to make that. I don't know if people can hear you. Oh, well, they didn't make it easy. Okay, I'm gonna try to fix it. It's now showed up in a different area. You're coming out through my speakers versus the actual stream. So now we actually have a brand new, a different type of a problem to figure out. And I'm sure we'll figure it out. Do you have any ideas for small carriers to implement to help creating a safety-based culture within their own small fleet, their own small. Okay, I see what you're saying. So actually, you don't have to go far. The FMCSA actually has a booklet that provides that information there, and you can download it for free on their website in PDF format. You can also, I believe, order it, and they can send it to you. But I'm not 100% sure on that one. But if they don't have it, then JJ Keller definitely will have all that in writing. So that's that. Good afternoon, Tommy. Thank you for stopping by, Sir Gerardo. Yeah, you said we can't hear Alex, so I'm going to try to fix that. Let me see if I can get that figured out. Can't hear Alex. Let's see. Collab. There we go. Mr. Alex Payne. Yeah, oddly enough, it doesn't give me any choices. It just gives me the one option that you're on, and the audio's coming through, and the speaker's here.
On the stream, my volume is super low.
It is because you're coming through the speakers on my desktop, and then my microphone is picking you up. So that's why it's super low. I'm surprised it's picking up anything. It's just really sensitive. But nonetheless, I'm gonna try to get that figured out because all the sound issues that we've had so far in the last two streams were different than what we are experiencing now. So that's what we got there. So I will get that taken care of. I just don't want to screw it up because I had ran some tests before you were online, and everything was working fine. So now we kind of have that going on. So let me take a look and see if I can make possibly some sort of difference. Maybe this should be. Yeah, see the audio, the sound source in Windows changed itself. So let's take a look. Okay, how about now?
Test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Oddly enough, you're still going through the speakers. Very odd. Well, we may have to just live with it, I guess. I'm going to just put the volume up and we'll hear you that way. Go ahead, Alex. Can you try to say something so we can see here if we can hear you?
Test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
There you go. All right. Well, let's get going with the show. We can't keep these folks sitting around 25 viewers here. How the reefer loads looking? The rates on a reefers. Well, last week we showed the last video that they looked really, really good to me. Let me see if I can pull it up here in a little bit of a different screen. Here, let's see if we can jump in. What do we have it here? Extras. There we go. We hardly ever use that screen. Let's see if we can. I think, Alex, you said you had a few things kind of you were thinking about, right? That you wanted to talk about today's show? Before.
Oh, yeah, there were some things, but I'll read them for a little bit later today.
I don't know if you can hear you or not, but I'm really surprised with this audio because it looks like no matter what I switch, it doesn't have any effect whatsoever. The audio just continues.
Not running through the stream for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's not running through the stream whatsoever. That's where I'm running into the difficulty because any change that I do does not take any effect, does not make any difference, does not make any change. So that's the problem. So I'm gonna try to do something a little different. Okay, is that if you talk, please?
Test. I can hear myself.
Okay, say something.
I can hear myself.
Yeah, it's in the speakers. Okay. I don't know. Guys, I really apologize. This is really on a new level. I have like 5 new sound devices have just appeared on my Windows because Windows is wonderful that way. And they're all associated with my mouse. So go figure. Okay, how about now, Alex?
Test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, it still comes to the speakers. I think I'm gonna have to give up on this. Okay, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it just keeps going through there. So, another thing I could change, I just don't want to screw it up completely. Guys, I really apologize. As soon as I get this thing up right now, I'm going to be on the road Anyone heard of a software for brokers called Carrier Assure? I think it's available. Yeah, exactly. No. Carrier Assure and Sonar are two different things. Carrier Assure is used by brokers and shippers, and you can also get some information from them by getting in touch with them. But it's a scoring system. We wrote a blog on our a blog post that actually shows you, talks about the importance of Carrier Assure, and it also gives you some information on how to increase your score. Because if your score is low with Carrier Assure, you're going to be denied with brokers left and right. Yeah, no, I did pre-test. That's the whole point. But we could not be assured because Alex had a power outage, so that's why he wasn't able to join us, and so we couldn't test with him on there. But I had calls coming in and everything. We had the audio fixed so that we didn't have this issue like we did last week where there was just this distortion and echo. So we got that taken care of, but now we have a completely different problem, and I'm going to try to change things up. Alex, how about now? Can you try to talk?
That's 1, 2, 1, 2.
This is just outrageous. Okay. Okay, you there? Okay, Alex, can you please speak?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just, no matter what I do, it just comes through here. I have no idea. I apologize. I mean, we could try to turn it on and turn it back on, but I think I just don't think that's gonna. Literally nothing is having any effect on audio. It just comes through these cheap little speakers, and I can't seem to change anything about it. Just absolutely ridiculous. Nonetheless, dude, let's proceed. Alex, people are going to be able to hear you. I'll turn the mic like this way, and then people will be able to hear you if you just speak loud enough. And I'll be able to do that. And we'll get this thing taken care of for next week's show. So you had some things ready for us, Alex? You had a few things you were going to talk about.
Basically, that's what I was saying. Like, I'm having something, but I wanted first to finish the topic that you had, because there was something pre-prepared.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I hadn't really had anything too crazy prepared. We covered some stuff earlier in the video. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. I mean, I must have misunderstood. Yeah, that power outage. Okay. No worries. All right, my friend. Well, let's do this. If we got a few things people wanted to talk, so let's do this. Let's jump in very quickly. Let's jump in on this discussion, and I wanted to show you guys some of the numbers that we had shown earlier. All right, so you guys asked about how things are going with reefers. Here you guys can see a reefer right here, 258 a loaded mile, 68.88, right, for last week, $6,800 in 7 days. That was reefer. I would think not bad. 20,000, very light loads. Another 20,000 pound load. The majority. I mean, one load was 40,000 pounds of 626 miles, right? So I would say that the majority of this ran very, very light. All at good rates. At, what is that? Lowest rate was 214. Highest rate was 304 a mile. 258 average, $6,888. I think they did a really good job there. Another reefer that we had here was right. There was another one. I could swear there was yeah, right there. So this is the first one I was going to actually show you guys. So Boring, Oregon, 3 drops, nurseries, right? 40,000 pounds. I somehow doubt it that nursery load is going to be 40,000 pounds. I want to believe that it's probably like a 20,000 pound at most load, 2,600 miles, at 213 a mile. And then on the way back, $4.50 a mile for a quick little run and just be done with it. Absolutely. I think that's fantastic. Also light load, 25,000 pound load. So I would say that reefers are doing quite well. Reefers are doing quite well, and reefers will always do well. Anytime you have market declines, you're going to have reefers. Not unfortunately, I'm fine with it. Reefers are always going to take the first spot. It's going to always come down to water, food, medicine. It's always going to come down to the bare essentials, and reefers will do that. Construction can, stop completely in the United States, and it will not affect anything, as far as like rates on the reefers. Reefers will go in, pick produce. They will be used by the government. They can be used like dry vans. Reefers are the way to go every single time. And again, you can even check that. Look at the market. All the dry van freight is generally eaten up, and there are way too many dry van trailers out there, because pretty much the cheapest piece of equipment after a flatbed to rent is a dry van. And flatbeds are, yes, they're cheaper to rent. They're very inexpensive to rent, but one of the problems with them is that you need a whole lot of auxiliary equipment. Generally stuff you're going to end up having to keep or sell off later if it's not your cup of tea. And at the end of the day, flatbed is a completely different piece of work. So, I mean, if you're going to be starting out, start off with like a dry van, and that's generally what people will tell you. So there was a huge amount of flatbed, of dry vans, trailers that were available, and anything that was able to be rented out got rented out. That's why reefers came after that. And then when people couldn't get a van or a reefer, they went for flatbeds. And I literally saw that play out during this crazy period in the market where we're just absolutely destroying it with rates, because even flatbeds benefited from that. But reefers, number one, every time. The reefers, and the thing is, you won't even necessarily net more with reefers, and you might even have more headaches with reefers, but you're gonna have a lot more stability with reefers. And if you're a one truck carrier, brand new, you want to improve all chances of success. You want to get yourself a piece of equipment that next time you're stuck somewhere back east and you have nothing that you can pull away with, you're going to be able to switch gears and say, you know what, let me take a look at vans and reefers. With a dry van, you can't take a refrigerated load, right? So with a reefer, I would say 60 to 70% of the time you might be able to actually find something that will be suitable and will actually get you out of there into a better market. What do you think, Alex?
In terms of reefers, yes. Technically, there is some freight that is right. It can be called a reefers. However, it's not 60 or 70%. It's more like somewhere around 20%, because there's a lot of freight that is intended for dry van. They don't let it reefer properly because, one, the dry van has wooden floors, reefer has metallic floor, and the other part is that the humidity inside of a reefer is much higher than in a dry van. The dry van should be no humidity at all. So that's why there's another reason why most of the times they will not load you a dry van load. However, there are some loads, for example, water loads, they will load you, beer loads, they'll load you up to scale most of the times. Never be scared about a beer load. Usually they always load you up to scale. If
Yes.
they don't, and you go and check, scale yourself in the nearest scale station, usually they will unload if you're overloaded. And that's probably my experience most of the times, but that kind of thing happens and you declare it, and then you keep the broker or your dispatcher so he can update the broker about this kind of situation. Usually you're also getting compensated.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Alex, for the time being, I think I found a way for us to be able to fix this issue. This should work without a problem. Why don't you do this? Why don't you call my line, and I'll pick it up here, and we'll just at least have you over the phone, and we'll have better audio quality that way.
All right.
Oh, that was by accident. Sorry about that, but I guess it fit. I hit that with my... I was like, what is that? Yeah, this ought to fix the problem, and this way we'll be able to. It might be a little out of tune, it might be a little bit out of sync or whatnot, but just for today, we're going to do that, and I'm going to get this thing taken care of. All right, here we go. There's Alex, and we'll actually put us on the caller, and then there we go. Hey, Alex, can you hear me?
Yes, just give me 1 second to mute one side, because I'm hearing you twice. Perfect.
There we are. All right, that should work really, really well. And hopefully I got the other settings still working correctly so that you guys can hear. Can you guys tell us in the chat, help us out. When Alex is talking, can you hear him okay? I'm going to shut up now.
Test, test, test. Yeah, I think I can hear myself fine because I'm checking on the YouTube right now.
Okay, good. All right, so at least something went right. Well, David Duran, it's all on the nursery load now. It's 40K. Okay. All right, well, now we know. Do you know a company or any recommendations on who can improve your safety score? Okay, so a company that will help you improve your safety score. Hey, I got one better for you. You can actually... again, go to the FMCSA's website is pretty good. All right. So, for example, there are companies out there that are selling you your driver file. You can get that at no cost. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting messages here saying that everything works good now. All right. Sounds good. So at least we got that figured out with the phone call system. So that's good. Thank you very much, Nathan. Really appreciate that. I'm glad it's better. And Ahmed share right there. Yes, we can. Tommy. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. So, there's a whole industry, a dirty industry of people that are trying to basically act as if they are some sort of an authority, act as if they're some sort of governmental authority, and they try to scare new entrants, new guys that you got to do this, they're going to shut you down. They send you official letters in the mail. You've seen it when you opened up your MC, or for example, when factoring companies start blowing it up, or the companies that do your, what's the filing? God, it's been such a long time, but the filing you do it when you first open up your MC authority, it'll come to me. But nonetheless, you have your what do they call it? BOC3. Your BOC3, I believe. Yeah, when you get that filing, you can only have one company that does, and they have to be registered. And what's interesting is that the cost of the BOC3 is actually mandated by the federal government. They cannot charge more than that, right? Now, some companies, they try to do that, right? They get busted. So what these companies do is they will offer that as a service. They're a registered business that uses that information to get onto the lists, get the lists of the new MC carriers that had just opened up, like last 24 hours, last week, last month, or whatever. And then they blow up their phones calling them because they do need that information. They only charge the dollar amount. It's like $37.50, I think, is the maximum allowable. And so what they do is they charge exactly that, but then they also offer a bunch of other crap that you don't need, that the government doesn't require and no one requires, but they charge you astronomical fees for basically paper that you can print out on your on your printer, PDF documents that mean nothing, and they give you certificates that make you feel good, and they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff, and they look really official. They'll send you stuff with fake seals on the letters. I mean, it really looks like it's coming from the FMCSA, and it's a bunch of trash. So everything that you need to start a trucking company, and everything that you need to run a trucking company, everything is available for free with the FMCSA. They literally provide you everything. The DOT new entrant audit that they're going to be running on you guys your first year, or around the end of your first year, everything that you need to pass that, including the checklist that I send you guys, is provided there for free by the FMCSA. They literally give you everything that you need to be successful, and people pay for this free information. So don't do that. Don't pay for free information. Don't pay for these. Make sure to always read. They always these companies that will give you these certificates and training courses, especially because they want to make you feel like you're gaining something, like they're giving you this training. No, you're paying to waste your time with useless information and getting a useless certificate out of it. And that's what it is. So you don't want to do that. But on those websites, they'll always have a disclaimer where it will be like, we're actually useless and the government doesn't require any of this stuff, but we personally think it's a good idea and you're going to like it. And so, but that doesn't mean anything, right? The government doesn't require it. So be very, very careful on that end. Okay. All right. So yeah, be very, very careful on that end. So I wouldn't hire anybody. I doubt that anybody's out there really who's going to be able to help get that taken care of for you. What you can do is with Carrier Assure specifically, get in touch with them and request your file. Request that they show you what's exactly on your file. Once you get that, you can look for updates. Where do you change? What's incorrect? Provide proof, that this isn't correct. Maybe like something's listed and information's missing. That key information that should be on there. Send them an email and include it as a PDF. They will actually include that. They can remove things, they can amend things, and those things, like a credit score, will improve your score. And then you will see that, because suddenly you're going to be like, you're just a little bit not good enough for certain brokers, and now you're going to go over that hump. And now you're going to be good enough for, like, let's say 30% more of the brokers out there, or like higher quality brokers, or loads above a certain dollar amount. You now will be trusted for those. Brokers have very sophisticated, algorithmically driven kind of decision-making machines, if you will. These things happen in the background where the brokers are they're given a green light or a red light in a certain carrier. You want to be the kind of guy who's going to be able to get the loads every time. So there's that. So again, thank you guys for letting us know about the audio. Again, my apologies on that. Like, this has definitely been it's weird. I tested everything out before going live and it still didn't work out well. Is there any flatbed freight? I'm not sure if I can read that. They put that little heart there. For new authority. Is there much freight? There isn't much freight, period.
To be honest, there's not much freight in general for a new authority.
Yep.
Not only on flatbed. Like, on pretty much anything.
Absolutely.
And let's say, like, the worst case scenario as a new authority is to be with a reefer. As of now, at least. Because since reefer freight has a higher cost, higher insurance, higher everything, brokers try, even if, let's say, like given an example, TQL for example, we all know that they work with pretty much everybody, and they will work with you even day one, but not on a reefer, because the reefer basically the reefer freight is much more expensive, and they'll give it to you only after you did 10 loads with them.
Sometimes the customer sets the limitations, so just be aware of that. Sometimes the customer is. Let me see if I can get that set up right.
Oh, that's an actually TQL rule properly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they will not give you anything over to over 150k insurance that it requires, even if you do have it. They will not give it to you unless you have at least 10 loads hauled with them, and nothing above $2,500, and nothing on reefer in general.
Yeah, sometimes our customers set limitations as well. I've had that happen when we were a new carrier years ago, where we just couldn't do it because they needed us to have, like Alex said, like we had to have hauled 5 loads. It wasn't TQL, it was like another broker, but they had to have us haul 5 loads with them before they would give us the opportunity to load for that customer, basically. And so they didn't give it to us. They didn't allow us to do that. Absolutely. I'm just looking for some stuff that set aside. Unfortunately, I had some technical issues again, and things have disappeared. But one of the things that we were talking about last week is, again, operating costs. And I recently had an interesting conversation with one of our customers, and I will be working directly with them. This gives me an opportunity to kind of share with you guys. So this customer is doing a fantastic job. He has multiple drivers. And he himself is a driver, which is a fantastic thing. Like, if you're going to try to grow your fleet, forget about expanding. And as soon as you expand, jumping off the truck and saying, okay, now, I'm the big boss now, so I can, get drivers to drive. So you hit 5 or 6 trucks, you can't do that. And sometimes even further than that, you really can't do that. So you have to be. Sorry, I was just getting a message here. I don't know if you're getting some of these notifications. I do apologize if that's blown up your speakers. So be very, very careful as far as trying to jump off the truck and trying to get yourself into a position of being, hey, I'm going to book trucks. I'm going to take care of the safety. I'm going to take care of the compliance. I'm going to take care of this and that. I'm going to, build relationships with brokers or whatever you might be thinking of doing. None of that's going to happen. What's ultimately going to happen with 1 or 2 trucks is you're just going to book freight. That's what you're going to do. You're going to take care of it. And you're going to go hang out and just, and feel good about it. The problem is that after a month or 2 of doing that, you're going to realize you're not making any money, and it's not covering the difference, or the market declines. It's just not happening. Once you get to about 5 trucks, you get up to your 5th one, you get up to your 6th one, you can jump off of that one and replace yourself with a driver. At that point, yes, you jump in and run the entire company. We have other customers, for example, where they have a very small number of trucks. The owner of the company operates, and they have hired someone who will take care of the back office. I have a better understanding of something like that. That does work. A lot of times spouses will take care of the back office work, so that's great. But unfortunately, all too often or all too frequently, we're sometimes in a position where we have a customer that does not run his truck, only has, like, let's say 4 or 5 pieces of equipment. They're not involved. They're more of a sweat equity investor, if you will. They're not involved, so they hire an external service that takes care of that for them. The external service doesn't really care because the boss isn't really involved in a business. And so what happens is then you have problems with dispatch, because dispatch can't get a hold of people in management in order to get a verification code on a really good load so that they can get you set up and get the driver rolling. And so these loads fall off. Then the driver's pissed because he's not getting the miles, right? And here, you know what I mean? Or he's not getting a percentage of the load. So it's just this avalanche starts to happen, and everyone starts to point fingers. And at the end of the day, I will be honest, it's always going to come down to dispatch, that my dispatcher screwed up. And that's what it always comes down to. No matter what happens, it's always the dispatcher's fault. And I always teach my guys to, and I always remind them that, remember, no matter how great of a job you're going to do, it's always going to be your fault when something goes to crap, because that's just unfortunately the way that things play out. And that's generally the truck dispatch. If there are folks out here watching this video who want to become a truck dispatcher or something along those lines, just be aware that this is This is not an easy business. I have a really old, very popular blog post where I talk about it and say why truck dispatching is a hard job, and it's not for any of the reasons that people think it is. It's not. It has nothing to do with booking loads even. It's more in the psychology of dealing with the customers. That's what it is. Because the truck dispatcher really, really knows when a good thing is a good thing. Like they really, really know when, oh, please, they're hoping, I really hope, Bill or Bob or John or whatever takes this load. I really hope he takes this load because, man, this is a good load. And then all of a sudden you they're totally opposed to it. And you have to start all over again. So here's, let's see if Alex back. He kind of took off.
Yeah.
There he is. All right. I thought I heard your breathing. All right, my friend. So
yeah, the thing is with putting a little parenthesis to what you said there, the thing is, because I was a dispatcher for a long time too, and as a dispatcher, you always know, of course, when a load is really, really good, even though it might not, that specific one will pay good, but you know that it will take you to a very good area and for a much better price, and so go on. However, the most important thing is, even as a dispatcher, even as a driver, as a trucker, is to establish a little bit that trust in between you and your dispatcher, because then you will not have to worry about these kind of things, you as a trucker, and the dispatcher will be able to take that good load that you need without going through approval and maybe lose the load and so go on. And it happens so many times that those good loads are being taken by somebody else properly because of this extra time that we take to get approval from it.
Oh yeah. It's a lot like detention. You're waiting on brokers. You're constantly waiting, but here it's a matter of like seconds, like having to explain things, and because
there are some
disappear.
brokers, especially right now in this market, that literally, like, if you tell him, "Can you hold on just 1 second to check with my guy?" They'll hang up the phone. They're not even gonna care. Like,
Yeah.
especially in a market where it's like 2 or 3 trucks per load, they're not gonna care. Maybe if in Montana or somewhere where, maybe there, but if you're in Chicago, good luck.
Well, Chicago. The thing is, it all depends on the market. We've seen. I remember even seeing the Midwest in certain times where there was just so much freaking freight and there was like no equipment there. So that has been the situation, and then every broker would wait patiently, and they, if you needed to take 2 minutes to speak with your customer, they allowed it. But I don't think we're in that situation. And I'm kind of looking at some of the summaries of some of these articles to kind of get an idea of what's going on out there, and they're actually saying, based on what I'm seeing, is that there's some signs that there's capacity burn-off and that is picking up steam, and that the market is headed for a strong second half. So again, what we have been seeing is a decline in trucking capacity. We really dearly need that. We really do need to see more of that. I have the situation where the broker does not pay after have done the load, and they have a good credit score and everything. Factoring. Okay, so you factored your load, you did the load, everything was clean. Are they giving you any reasons why? How to identify this kind of broker? Are you looking for the bond information of this broker, or are you trying to get an idea of how to read these brokers ahead of time? Okay, let's see if we can. You can probably just disconnect on me and let me know, and we'll bring that in. Oh, there you go. We made that work. Ahmed, this situation with you, are you looking to figure out how to get the bond information? Because I would file a bond. I mean, if it's been over 30 days, if you've been in contact with this broker's accounts payable, and they're just not willing to cut you a check, they're not willing to take care of this. If your factoring company's paid out and enough time came back that they did a recourse action, they pulled your money out again and paid themselves, or they took it out of your next billables that you had coming in, like other invoices that you factor with them. If any sort of action like that is happening, then you actually need to get with your factoring company and get a better understanding, because here's what happens. Yes, your factoring company purchases your receivable, but what ends up happening is that they become the owner of that receivable. However, if they've done a recourse action, what they essentially do is they remove themselves from factoring loads with that broker on your account. So that receivable becomes now once again your receivable, which means you can actually collect on it. You see, and what it basically means is that now you are back in the position. You have the right to go after the bond company and collect on that receivable directly from the bond company. Now, at that point, one of two things will happen. Once you go through that process, the bond company will give it a little time, and then they will give the broker an opportunity to pay up because they will find them at fault and that they do need to pay you, or they will say, we will pay the customer, we will pay Ahmed, but we're going to increase your premiums. And brokers don't want to have increased premiums. They're going to say, all right, we're going to pay Ahmed. And they're going to get in touch with you and say, hey, we're going to cut you a check. Here's a picture of the check. Here's a check number. Here you are. It'll be in a few days. Please, we're sorry. It was a clerical error. That's what they'll usually do. Or they won't say anything. You'll just get an ACH or a check. But either way, you can get paid your money. Guys, remember, anytime you have unpaid stuff. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Hey, Alex, you're on there now.
Yeah, it was a prank call.
It was a prank call. All right. I'm happy to hear it. We're getting our first prank calls.
Oh, this is actually the fourth.
Oh, the fourth prank call. I've been really keeping you busy, huh?
I'll send you the registration after. You're going to laugh.
Oh, this is fantastic.
We can't put it live, though. We definitely can't put this on live.
The recording? Yeah, definitely.
100%.
That's fun. That's fantastic. Yeah, just to reiterate, guys.
Ahmed was asking, I don't know
sir.
how much we were telling him, how to identify that kind of broker. You cannot really identify it. However, there are some things that you can do to avoid them. We actually had that problem that you had quite some time ago, it's true, probably when the COVID started and everything. And there were a lot of new brokers on the market because the market was booming and everything. Of course, there was an influx of brokers. And what we do, we created sort of a rules. I can even email to you if it helps you. You can use it too as a rule for yourself, and it will definitely help you. Like, let's say after you're checking with your factoring company, even though you see it as a C, like as D-rated, even though some brokers would allow you to work with D-rated brokers, I would definitely not recommend you to do that. With C, try to see if their paydex is under 50 days. Under 50 days, if they have like 1,000, 2,000 invoices in the past in the past half a year, in the past 6 months, that should be okay. You lower your risk. If it's above 50 days paydex, I would suggest you to completely just avoid it at all costs. In terms of A and B, those usually are always good, but make sure they have at least like 100 invoices in the past 6 months. Like that would be a good thing. I mean, it depends even how old your MC is, because if your MC is pretty new, you cannot really afford, so you might want to take some risks, but even at that, up to a certain point.
Yeah, you wouldn't have too many options in the first place. So I would say be really, really mindful about who you're going to work with in that end, even if, with new companies. Like, so for example, you guys may have noticed that TQL has a 104 score. Pretty much no one else does. So it's based on a 100-point system. And TQL, if you notice on their ACHs, pretty much religiously, they pay on day 28. And it's because they pay on day 28 that they have 104 out of 100 credit score. They buy themselves a little bit of room by paying a little bit early based on regular rules, right? They're beating the averages. Sometimes they'll hit 29 days, but it gives them the room so that they never slip under 100. Now, I don't pay attention to it, but I know that for years of watching TQL, they've never went under 100. So, and then if you do have the AB rating, that kind of stuff, that generally comes from the factoring company. They all have different things, but they basically take and the information, like a 100 score is like an A. But at the same time, what the factoring company does to decide whether or not it's a good company or not, it's not only the days to pay, or how many days does it take the broker to pay the factor on each invoice on average, but they also consider their own book of business. And this is why I always say it's always better to work with a bigger factor than a smaller factor, even if they give you better rates, because you have to understand, for simple terms like this, the factoring company, you're a customer, the factoring company gives you a credit line. Let's say they give you a credit line of $50,000 a month. And you might be like, man, this is fantastic. I'm lucky to break $20,000, $25,000 a month. So this is great. I'm never going to hit those numbers. But yeah, there's a problem because that $50,000 is broken up per customer. So for example, you'll say you take a load from TQL, and let's say you take another load from TQL, and then you take another load from TQL. Now you have 3 loads ranging anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000. And so in total, let's say you are at, let's say $16,000, and all of a sudden you come up with your last load, and they're gonna say, oh, you know what? Your exposure is too great, right? There's just too many eggs in one basket. But really what it could be is not so much that, it's just that their exposure is too great. It's not yours. You're bringing in deals. You're bringing in deals. These are done deals. They should collect on it, but they don't want to have too much exposure. It's not about you. That's why you go to a larger company that will be able to take that hit in case something happens, and they generally will be able to work with more customers. They'll be a lot more forgiving with customers. So where someone would grade somebody a C, they might think it's a B or something like that. So you open up more of your opportunities. Remember, everyone's looking out for themselves in every situation in this industry especially. And so what ends up happening is that the factor's only looking out for number one, the broker's looking out for number one, and you should be looking out for number one as well. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're doing that. And I really hope Ahmed's question, definitely go after that bond. Wait it out, follow through, do everything exactly as the instructions that they will provide you when you call on the bond. Do you have the bond information? If you need to get in touch with me, we can get it together. You can get it on Safer. Just pop in their MC number and then go to the insurance, and then you'll be able to get the policy for the surety and bond information and for the policy number. So if you need help, just give us a call. In any case, I guess this is kind of perfect time to kind of segue into a little commercial, a little ad, right? I don't have them prepared, so we'll just do it live on air. Guys, if you need truck dispatch services, if you are a carrier operating under their own MC authority, you have a truck, you have a trailer, your MC is at least 3 months old as a minimum, 3 months old MC. You have a truck and a regular trailer, van, reefer, or a flatbed. With flatbeds, please, guys, let's get it together. Tarping is a big necessity in the spot market. If you were out in the contract market, would be a totally different story. But in the spot market, you're going to need to either go out and find yourself some direct customers, or if you're going to stick in this market, you're going to want to tarp and have all the auxiliary equipment, especially for top money. For top money, you want to do that. 70% of the loads are tarp loads. But if you do van, reefer, or flatbed, if you have your own MC authority of 90 days, get in touch with us. Go to our website, aftdispatch.com. Just fill out the little form. So I'm going to show you this really quickly. So is it this one? There we are. Okay. So go to our homepage, and you'll see this. You just click on Learn More, or this one. If you're a leased on owner operator, get some info. If you're a carrier, click on a dispatch service one. A ton of information. We had a brand new blog post pop in today. It's there it is. This one's going to be really fun. The top 5 types of truckers explained. I think you guys will like it, even though I have 6 truckers on there because artificial intelligence can't count. So don't worry about your trucking jobs, guys. Artificial intelligence can't make the difference between 5 and 6. And believe me, I've tried several prompts to get it to understand basic arithmetic, but it's difficult. I know Alex is a very, very big fan of AI. Hi, Alex. Actually, yeah. I'm saying this half jokingly. He's generated a beautiful image that has taken how many hours so far of for generation?
Almost 8 hours.
Almost 8 hours. It's an extremely high resolution, very detailed image. It's fantastic. So yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to Sora. I'm definitely looking forward towards Sora. Jason, hey, how's it going? Please do contact me whenever you want. Let's get in touch. I'm looking forward to it, man. I mean, we had a good talk last time. I'm really looking forward to doing some business together. Absolutely. Ahmed, oh, there he is. I thought you might have been God. Thank you very much. Got everything. Fantastic, man. Ahmed, good to hear. Cole said, best used truck for purchase for small fleet, $50,000 for a 400,000 mile or less. Oof, that'd be a tough one. I would, when it comes to trucks, I would talk with Kevin. I think that's the best way to go about it, is talk to Kevin, because he drives. I'm not a driver. I've driven a semi truck, maybe a total of I think 5 feet. And I have, yes, sir, Jason, thank you. I've driven a semi-truck a total of 5 feet, just backed it up. Maybe not even 5 feet. Maybe it was 2. Maybe it was 3. That's it. The biggest truck I ever driven was a box truck. It's a straight truck, 26-footer with a Maxon lift gate in the back, big old tail, that. I really enjoyed it, but that's not a semi-truck. It doesn't pivot like a semi-truck. And it's not. And that's why I'm so critical of hot shots. It's not a semi-truck. Don't put it through semi-truck work. I realize that it can take up to 26,000 GVW or whatnot. I understand, but don't do it. So yeah, that's what we got. But yeah, you can go to our website, get a ton of information. For example, we talked about the Convoy platform. Take advantage of that. If you're self-dispatching, take advantage of the new Convoy platform. They got some new stuff. If you ever had questions about IFTA, look at the details that we went into with this IFTA article. So, I mean, this thing is freaking long. We really went into a lot of complicated jurisdiction information and compliance. So you have a full like if you ever just couldn't sleep, pull up your phone, pull up AFT Dispatch, pull up that particular article. It'll put you to sleep because it literally gives you all the information about IFTA and why it even exists, and among other things. So, and it's all over here. You guys can just keep loading posts. We've done that, and the further back you go, the more the older the stuff gets, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of stuff, like we talked about the 2024 tax package, which would have been a huge thing, and we're still waiting to see what the answer on that is and whether or not the government, our government, is going to do it, going to vote on it one way or another. So, pardon. So there's a few things. It looks like that's not loading properly. So something isn't working right, maybe. Oh, there it is. So yeah, and there's a ton. There's probably about 80 different long form posts on it that you guys can take advantage and take a look at that. So thank you guys. Yeah, if you don't mind, guys, please, it's been about an hour. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll have a lot more stuff. And again, I really, really appreciate you guys stopping by. I mean, it'd be impossible to run this show with just like 2 or 3 viewers, knowing that you're just sitting there talking to yourself in an echo chamber. So definitely appreciate you guys. And we will have this in a much more organized manner. Like I said, I skipped the music. Some of the stuff got lost. Some of the stuff I wanted to show you guys. But like, for example, earlier in the show, and Alex missed it, I might as well play it one more time because I think it really is that important. Let's take a look here. I believe it was this right here.
Anytime, Ahmed, anytime.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was right here. So let's go ahead and play this really quick just for you.
Well, Georgia senators are working to limit the ability of people to sue insurance companies directly in lawsuits over trucking accidents. So the Senate voted 46-2 to pass the bill, sending it to the House for more debate. The measure says someone could only sue an insurance company directly when the trucking company has gone bankrupt or when the plaintiff can't find the driver or the company. Supporters say that this change would result in lower insurance rates for truckers. They argue current rates on the trucking companies are just too high. Well, Georgia.
Yeah, so what do you guys think of that? Hopefully you guys can hear that. Thanks for the advice, Alex. So is the box truck easier to drive than tractor trailer? For me personally, I would say so. Now, I didn't drive a semi, but there is no way that a box truck would be tougher to drive because I had no problems driving the box truck. Yeah, you still have to watch the tail. It does swing out, especially on a 26-footer. Especially ones with the stairs and things that you can catch stuff. You have to be definitely careful. But a box truck is by far going to be a lot easier because it's just a straight truck. It doesn't pivot like a semi truck does. So absolutely, a box truck is much easier to drive than a tractor trailer.
Jason, no, that's a good piece of advice.
Hey guys, whatever you do, please don't ever put your authority on hold. Yes, Jason, and I'm not laughing at you, my friend. I think by now you're laughing too, and I'm laughing with you. He's paying the price after 7 years with his own authority, now back as with a new carrier authority status. Yeah, that's exactly where he's at. You guys are gonna feel the pain. It is absolutely awful. I would highly, I would say you got to, if you're gonna have your MC authority, you want to definitely hold on to it and keep it as long as you possibly can. He's really literally paying the price. Another friend of mine back east in Was he in Virginia? I always forget if it's Virginia or Vermont. If he watches the show, he's gonna call and yell at me. But nonetheless, he's had his MC for years and years and years and years and years, and he shut it down for 4 months, and he reactivated it with the insurance. His insurance went up by $10,000, $10,000 for the year. I mean, this is with a local agent. He's been working with her for years. He's in business. 95% of this man's business comes from direct freight, from shaking hands, customers, folks he's worked with over the years, and he lives where, basically born and raised, and right then and there, he knows everybody in the community. He's an older man, an older gentleman, and hell of a trucker. And now his MC's brand new. Now, I somehow don't think he's going to run into any problems, because 5% of the freight that he runs is in a spot market. He doesn't care if it's TQL, C.H. Robinson, or J.B. Hunt. He could care less. Unless, of course, some of his customers might be going through there, but I highly doubt it. Now, folks, guys that want to run through the spot market like Jason, yeah. I'll leave it to Alex. Alex, what happens with people... what happens when this happens? Let's say you cancel your insurance for a little bit and then reactivate.
Actually, I had properly a case, even worse than yours, Jason. Basically, I had a guy that we were talking, we were trying to start to work together. The guy was really eager. This guy, I think he got the most screwed up out of everybody. You probably, Vitaly, already know who I'm talking about. Not gonna give any names, but let's call it like that. First of all, he thought that he was working with a dispatch company. In fact, he was working with a carrier, and they were booking their loads on their MC authority, and they were giving it to him at a so smaller price. They were stealing him from pretty much every side. And after all that crap, he finally decided to move on, go on his MC and all that. And boom, there goes the second problem. His insurance agent forgot to renew his policy for like 2 days. A day and a half, actually, not even 2 days. And he jumped from being an almost 2 years MC authority to brand new. And how's that gonna affect you? Well, it's gonna affect every single piece of your company. It's gonna affect your cost of insurance. Your policies are gonna be higher. Your costs are gonna be higher yearly. Plus, of course, nobody's gonna work with you anymore for a while. At least for the first 30 days, it's gonna be close to impossible.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have even 1 or 2 or 3 days sitting in a truck stop because you can't find a load. Especially if you go in a very, very bad market. That's why I said when I talked with people that are like pre-30 days, stay in very, very popular areas where there is a lot of freight. Yes, you might not make top dollar. Don't expect for it. Your first 30 days, you're not gonna make ever top dollar. You're not gonna make 7 or 8K or 9K. Those are dreams. Sometimes those are dreams for old carriers too. So
Oh yeah.
for a new one, it's even worse. So yeah, stay in popular areas and hustle, and be happy if you break even the first 2-3 months.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. There was a gentleman that we worked with for some time. He's actually out here in Utah. Alex may have actually dispatched him for a short little while. Remember Rooster? Rooster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll leave the names there. That's a name, popular name he goes by. But nonetheless, he had some folks that he worked with for the very longest time. They took care of all his files and documents, et cetera, and then they were keeping his stuff updated. Documentation, MCS 150 updates, biannual updates, stuff like that. And they forgot to update something. They made a mistake. They had to go back, and in the process had to remove a hyphen from the company's name that did not belong there, and that reset his MC of 14 years. Yeah, so there you go. Jason, don't feel too bad. 7 years. This guy was 14 years. So he actually felt so bad. He ended up what he ended up doing was he went in to surgery. I found him a guy who rented his trailer while he was in surgery, and then things worked out, and he got like a local job, and that worked out really, really well for him. Yeah, and Jason saying, thank you for the clickbait load boards. Oh, the clickbait. Yeah, the clickbait load boards. Let's see. Go to the how to go about acquiring business credit. Okay, acquiring business credit. So one of the first things I would do is make sure that whatever you're financing is financed through your business. So. But be careful when you do it with cars. So I know one of the first things people want to jump onto is taking advantage of the perks of buying a big, heavy SUV that's over 6,000 pounds so that you can get a tax write-off. Keep in mind this. Even if it's under 6,000 pounds, you get different deductions, not specifically the ones that you might be thinking. However, it's not about buying. You can actually buy or lease a vehicle, for example, under your business company that will grow your credit, but good luck insuring it. Because now it's going to have to go under your general policy, your trucking company's policy as a lightweight vehicle, and only you or any officer of the company will be allowed to drive that vehicle. And they can only drive it for business. And then the rest of the mileage cannot even be used for business. And so the mileage racks up, they might have a real tough time. It has to be basically used 100% for business purposes if it was purchased by the business. So if we were like a locksmith, for example, we can actually, that's one way my CPA explained to me is that if you were a locksmith, you can buy a van and have all your stuff in it. And it makes sense because it's part of doing your business. But if you're running a trucking company, unless you got like, let's say you got a trucking company and, you have 1,000 trucks and let's say 2,000 trailers and you're really going out there and working it. You need a real nice sports car or something like that. It makes sense. But, anything other than that, under that rule, we're really pushing it. But yeah, you can build business credit. You can do that by your first trailer, for example. It usually can be cheaper. Finance that using business credit. Your first truck, finance that using business credit, and then it will grow. It will grow. Also, certain business cards will report to your business credit. And you also want to make sure to get your, there's an account that you want to get set up. Here, let me see if I can, DUNS. So you want to get a DUNS number. It doesn't cost anything, but at least get the profile so that so there's an account on there that it can get reported to. Also do that. So there's that. There almost is, a trucking insurance. It does feel like a monopoly in some cases. Like, for example, in Florida, the same gentleman actually told me, and this by far, so the highest insurance that I've ever seen for an annual policy was about, I think it was like $32,000 or $36,000, which I thought was outrageous. For a single year used truck and trailer, $36,000. That's just ridiculous. Well, he told me that a gentleman in Florida opened up a brand new MC authority. And those of you who live in Florida, you know that getting insurance in Florida is sometimes just almost as difficult as getting truck insurance in California. And so this gentleman opened up a brand new MC authority, and he was quoted $125,000 annual premium to be paid out or financed for one box truck, for a single box truck. Now, I don't know, I haven't verified that number. That I've never in my life heard a number that high. If things really are that bad and that's a true number, Jason, he says me. Well, you are in Florida. That is true, Jason. You are in Florida, so maybe. Yes, sir. One good thing that happened is that got cheaper insurance. Amen to that. Yeah, well, see that you got lucky there. You definitely got lucky there.
That's the first I'm hearing renewing his MC and getting the insurance actually cheaper and not more expensive. So you definitely got lucky there. It's the first time I actually hear that.
Well, Jason's in a good part of Florida. Highway robbery. No, you're right, man. Jason, you're absolutely right. Insurance is tough. I actually, when we started our trucking company, one of the insurance companies that we got referred to was out in California, and they did some sneaky stuff that we didn't know about. When I caught onto it, we got our refunds and pulled back and got all our money and went to another company. But I'm just really glad that nothing happened at the time when we were covered under that policy. If we ever needed to put a driver, they had a driver listed for us, and I always wondered, like, who are these people they're insuring? Like, I don't have a driver file. I haven't called I haven't hired them. They're not a driver. I've never seen them. I don't know even their name. But they would just find people to put them into your insurance file to get you lower insurance rates because they would have like a perfectly clean CDL record or whatnot, things like that. So and so did we, but in order to insure it, because so it'd be even better or lower rates. They would do that. You have to be really careful if you're a company driver out there, and you're working strictly as a company driver under your company. Make sure that the insurance it actually has you insured. Make sure you're on the policy. Make sure your truck's insured. Make sure your trailer's insured. The cargo's insured. Not a lot of insurance certificates will show that. Most of them won't. You actually have to go and ask your company for additional information. Verify. Way too many companies in the Midwest, and when I say Midwest, I mean Chicago, did these schemes where they just didn't insure a ton of their fleet. They just did not insure a ton of their fleet. The drivers weren't insured. Nobody knew. The only time they'd find out about these things when they get into a bad accident. And depending on how long it would go without accidents, without major infractions and problems, stuff like that. Because if you got pulled over, you provided an insurance certificate. The insurance certificate doesn't show that that you're listed on it or not. The cop might issue you a ticket or something might happen, but insurance never comes under question unless there's an accident. And or especially fatalities or injuries and things like that, and that's when it really comes up. And a lot of times these companies, they pocket your money. Yeah, and see, and Jason says, please get general liability insurance. Jason, I would really invite you to call us in, man. Give us a call, because you seem to have had like really a journey through this insurance. Would you share it with the rest of the audience? I mean, you're talking about general liability insurance for some reason, saying that make sure to get it. You're talking about some of these other issues that you're going through as part of restarting your MC authority after 7 years in business. Give us a call, man. 801-448-6363. Hit extension 3. It'll go to Alex, and then he'll get you over to me, and we'll get you on the line. This way, you'll be able to kind of speak your mind, speak your piece, if you will, towards the insurance companies, and we can get this out there to more of the people. Because believe me, guys, with as few of the viewers that we have live on the show, and I definitely appreciate everybody, a lot more views show up later. So if you can provide this information, it's going to stay out here, and a lot more views are going to come into this video later on as we as the view starts to get more traction later. And in fact, the numbers will 10 times, 20 times higher than what we might be getting at the end of the actual stream. T. Hill says, a record driver showed me 2 trucks that had insurance as they are holding up payments. I can't read the entire, but I think he said that didn't have maybe insurance? Hadn't had? It may be the case. So here's some... Oh, okay. So let's take a look. A record driver showed me 2 trucks. One had insurance, and they are holding up payments. Okay, there you go. Out of the 2 trucks, only one had insurance, right? There you go. That does happen a lot. That has happened a lot. A lot of these companies are actually looking forward to getting that. They don't mind getting that ticket. They'll take it. They'll take the hit because all this money. Yeah, one only. So out of the 2 trucks, only one had insurance. Yep. What I'm going to show you guys. Let's see. I don't know if this is going to be appropriate or not, but I actually sent this to myself because I thought this was hilarious. For any of you guys hauling hazmat, I know that we have quite a bit of hazmat carriers. This is for you.
Hauling that hazmat, you make some good money, but at the same time, man, you got to make a lot of sacrifices. And so you gotta ask yourself a question like, what are you willing to sacrifice to be able to, pull that hazmat? I opened up the door a while ago.
I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but the hazmat eye. A lot of the carriers, they know that. You get that whiff, that smell. His eye went up a few inches. And then those guys, whenever dispatchers call you and say, can you get to the receiver to hurry up? Can you please help to get the receiver to hurry up? Sometimes this is the receiver. With horses. So yeah, absolutely. Something else that I'd set aside for you guys is right here. A car going 5 miles per hour slower than surrounding traffic has a greater chance of causing an accident than one going 5 miles per hour faster. And I wanted to know, where do you guys stand in that respect? Because to be quite frank, let's be honest. A lot of you guys would much rather go faster and slower. Rarely do I run into drivers who say, yeah, I want to go 62 miles per hour, cap me at 62. How do you guys feel about that? Alex, what about you? What do you think? Should we go faster? Should be allowed to go faster?
That's a very, very taboo question, to be honest.
I put you in a tough spot, huh?
If you have the right kind of experience, yeah, you can go slightly faster because you know what you're doing. But if you're a newbie, let's say you're in the first 2-3 years, and yes, 3 years is still newbie as a trucker. Don't get it as an insult. Get it as an advice to be a little bit more precautious and learn the things. There are things that you'll learn even after 10 years of driving the truck, and you're gonna see that. So, in case you're not experienced enough, I'd suggest to just keep it to the limits. Don't hurry up too much because you might end up getting there later than you wanted.
Oh yeah, we're not getting there at all.
Or not getting there at all.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a very good point, man. That's a very, very good point.
Of course, never slow down if you're on ice. Because they're not going to really slow down.
Especially if you're on a motorcycle.
even on a truck, trust me, with 42,000 pounds behind, if you're gonna hit the brakes just a little bit, you're gonna become just like Santa's sleigh. They're gonna fly.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You got to be really careful out there. I was reading some of the comments, and I'll have to pull some of those up. But there were some folks arguing. There were some guys who just never go on in the Western states, and we're talking, the Pacific Northwest with Washington, Oregon, and then moving forward east from there. And we're talking, like Utah and Colorado and Wyoming and stuff like that. And then there's guys that just live in that area. And of course they go through there all the time. They're like, oh man, no, that's not so bad. Everything's fine. They're used to it. They're fine with it. And then there's guys that just will not go in there in some of those areas. So some people don't mind, chaining up. My brother, for example, he hates chaining up. He'd rather park. He'd rather park than chain up. It beats up your tires, just completely destroys your tires. It takes forever. And then sometimes it's dry out and you have to drive with the chains on, and it ends up actually hurting everything else around, like the roads, and it hurts. But the law's the law and you got to do it. So he'd rather just sit and wait until they remove the requirement. And, that is an option. If that's an option, that might be an option way to go. So absolutely. Looks like we got a few folks out in the chat there. If you guys have any questions we can cover for you guys, we looked at the loads that we covered for our customers earlier. You guys saw, we have guys running, $8,000, $7,000, $6,000, $5,000, anywhere from, I would say, between $6,000 and almost $9,000 per week. They're running.
Snow socks.
What's that?
Mr. Gerardo Gomez are asking if our snow socks good.
Snow socks, never tried them. A bit shy to talk live. Jason's a bit shy to talk live. Yeah, no worries, man. It's not an easy task. Actually, the other day when I completely put Brian on the spot by calling him on a Sunday and just put him on a spot. Hey, you're live on our video, and he did really well. I just wish we didn't have that audio problem so that we can actually hear him. He made some really, really strong points. So absolutely. But yeah, Jason.
In the meanwhile, you were asking me because I prepared something and actually have something prepared. I'll send you also a link that I'll want you to show to the guys in just a bit. I'll send it to you right now. I wanted to break a little bit some myths about and give you a little bit of advice. Might be a little bit harsh for somebody, but that's pretty much how I am. Drivers that worked with me know that I'm a straightforward person and not gonna talk you around. So basically, let's break into a very, very sensitive subject, which is power only. Get a lot of calls, pretty much talking about 5 to 8 people that I talk about, and they ask me, "Oh, but I'm power only. Do you think that will work?" No. I'll be straightforward. No, and I'll explain exactly why. basically, if you're talking about power only, in the best case scenario, you'll make like somewhere around, like I'm not talking about customer freight. I'm talking about spot market freight. If you find yourself a customer that you get yourself a good deal, that's a whole other story. And even that is good if you have it constant. If you have it once every 3-4 weeks, that's a different story. But let's go back to the spot market. On a spot market, in a best case scenario, you make 4K a week gross at a best. Can you open a calculator so you can show people a little bit? Show people a little bit the numbers.
Yeah, I should be
So
able to
basically,
pop it up here.
yeah. So basically, you have 4K on gross on a power only. Let's say on a drive-in, if you're running every way, 2 weeks OTR, same case with the power only. Trust me, if you're gonna stay 3 days on the road, you're not gonna make 4K a week ever again. With a drive-in, you'll make, let's say, if you look at on a yearly average or 6 months average or 3 months, it's gonna be somewhere around 6K if you have a good dispatcher that knows what he's doing and everything. And I'm gonna do some math on my side. So basically, let's say you dispatch yourself as a power only, make somewhere around 4K.
So I got
Go
4
with a
grand
dispatcher.
on the
Yeah,
it's on
make somewhere around 6,200 a mile. Let's say, for example, you work with us. We work 7%. That's you remain with somewhere around 58 in hand. So basically, we're talking about this 1,800 difference a week. But yeah, of course, you're gonna have to pay insurance for the trailer and the trailer. How much? I was showing you, Vitaly. Can you show them a little bit of website to see a little bit to show a little bit to people how much a drive-in costs to rent
the
in
rental
these
cost. Yeah,
days?
let me pop that screen
Yes,
up.
and these are actually realistic numbers, and this is a website that I recommended to a lot of people. I can send it to you guys too if you want to.
Yeah, it's
It's
on
a
the screen.
public website, so it's
Yeah, it's called Rental Yard.
perfect. Yeah, it's called Rental Yard. You can find all types of trailer. Of course, I would recommend driving just because right now the prices are really, really good. We're talking about you can rent a 2023, 2024 for somewhere around $1,000 a month. That means $250 a week, plus minus, depends on the month. Let's say 275 at the worst, in the worst case scenario. But we're talking about weekly $1,800 difference. You cut at 275, you remain with $1,500. Let's say another $200, but it's not $200. But let's say close to $200 and insurance on a trailer, you're still making $1,200 every single week more than you would do as a power only. So basically, if you're working as a power only, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm saving so much money for the trailer," no, you're losing money. You're never gonna earn more money without a trailer than with a trailer. Otherwise, why would people buy trailers? Why do you think people buy trailers? Why would not everybody just run power only and all the trailers will be just distributed to to the customers? Because it's always better to work with there are flatbeds there are reefers, there are steppers, there are little low boys if that's your deal. Maybe your low boy broke up and you want to take a new one. I'd suggest not to unless you have direct customers for that kind of stuff. It's a very, very specific thing. And the other stuff that I wanted to talk about, there are a lot of people that
Here's a really
maybe
good
have some money
example.
on the side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna just
2013.
kind
I mean, that's
of some of the example
yeah,
with
that's a little
pricing.
bit older.
No, it is. But this is the one I wanted to show you guys right here. So it's a 2013 Wabash Drive-In, only for $500 a month. But here's the thing: you want to stay away from that. It's just a little bit too old. No, Alex, it's over than 10 years old.
Yes.
So that's part of the reason why it's actually on a cheaper side, because it's actually the newer ones. Because the rest are going to be 08s, 06s, 05s. There was a 1994 model up there. And they'll vary from 375 to 400 and stuff like that. This one's a little bit more, but you're actually going to have more issues with it because you're going to get turned down a lot of freight. You know, say goodbye to Costco freight, say goodbye to a lot of different companies that they will just, turn you down more often than ever before. But go ahead, Alex. I apologize.
Yeah, and the second part that I wanted to break, I think if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, or maybe you want to contradict me, feel free to do so. You can either call the number that's on the screen, or you can write in chat, contradict me, tell me what I'm wrong, and we'll talk about it. It's good that people have different opinions, as long as we talk about it and we don't get aggressive on them, of course. And the second thing that I wanted to talk with people, I understand, and is basically, I mean, Vitaly talked a lot about it, and he said it multiple times. It probably drive you crazy by it, but it's LTL and hotshot. Oh boy. I understand some people start with LTL and hotshot. They start in trucking thinking, oh, it's a little bit cheaper. I understand some people don't afford to get a semi, or maybe they don't have the credit score, or they don't have the availability to get the kind of money to get a semi, which is totally fine. I completely understand. However, this is just my personal view. If you don't afford a semi, at least in the past 2-3 years market, I'm talking, I don't think the box truck would be the right decision for you anyway. You'd better just wait a little bit longer or work a little bit more in other sector, put some money on the side, and go towards the semi. And why is it that? Cost of operation. The cost of operating a box truck are very similar to a semi. The revenue on the other side is half, sometimes even under half. Of course,
Welcome,
if
James West.
yeah, of course, if, for example, you were a hotshot driver, you were a box truck driver for a company, and you met some nice people from where you picked up the delivery, and you figure out some business with them and tell them, look, I'm going to buy my own truck. Can I run with you guys? That's another story, and that's the recipe of success for box trucks. However, 90% of the times where I talk with people that run on box trucks, that's not the case, because people are shy to talk. Most people, let's be honest, we jump in a truck because we hate talking with people. It's true, and it's not something bad or something ugly. That's totally fine. Not everybody likes to talk a lot, like me. Call me and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's not a problem. However, if you think that you're gonna jump into the box truck and you're gonna do trucking, I mean, if you take it word by word, yes, you're gonna do trucking, but you're not gonna make the money that is in trucking. Mac Pinnacle CXU 613. I think actually.
Yep. So yeah, there's some folks out there asking, who was it? I think Gerardo. Yeah. How much a reefer rental? So I just looking up some reefers. I mean, here's one right here. I'm looking. They got Thermo Kings. It's a 2017. So this would be, just right. S700 reefer unit, $12.90 a month. They have 2 units available. It's $1.45 per operating hour on the reefer. And they probably have a mileage fee as well. They may or may not. I don't know. So you want to get in touch with them. So there's your 1,290. So that's what? That's about 11 cents, 10.5 cents or so per mile.
However, James, I would not recommend it. Not James, actually, Gerardo. Sorry. I would not recommend you to rent a reefer anyway, because it's just more expensive. The insurance is higher. Everything is higher. You're gonna need a reefer breakdown on your insurance, on your general policy and everything. And if you break bottom dollar, if you rent it, you're gonna make less money than the guy with the drive-in, and you're gonna have a little bit more headache. So that's a no-no. If you have a reefer that you already paid it out, that's a different story. If you want to rent one or lease one, if you want to rent one, straight up no. If you want to lease one, good luck.
Most of these rental places will give you lease options as well. Just be sure you understand how it all functions and how the numbers work out, because Alex and I, we looked over some of these numbers in greater detail. You're always going to pay more money, but depending on how the financing works, you might be able to actually keep that trailer, and then you also get the benefit of depreciating that asset on your taxes against your taxable income. So generally speaking, that's can be a better way to go, especially if it's a newer trailer or a trailer that has a lot of life left to it, or enough years left to it. But one way or another, get yourself a trailer. If you rent one, you're still going to make up the difference. And remember, becoming an owner operator is actually going to be is going to make you work more. You're going to work more. You're probably going to work more for less. And Alex, here's the site that we're looking at. I was looking for some reefers here. There's I'm in a section that has all of the trailers, but we also got a few here. So here are your drive-ins, and here's a 2016 drive-in for $600 a month. Drive-ins are usually simple. They might have mileage fees or something like that, but at least there's no reefer hours, and a lot of them will just have all-inclusive, run as hard as you want. So right there, updated just recently, 2016 Wabash. They make good trailers. I like Great Danes for the reefers. I like, Wabash makes good stuff, and then utility for dry vans. Good afternoon, Todd. Thank you for joining us. Midway Transportation's asking, why is the market still trash? And my manual is saying reefer rates are terrible. It makes no sense right now. Would the market be better before election? Is that what he's saying? Would be market.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure I was reading it right, because there's a little icon that covers a portion of your guys' comments, and so sometimes I can't see it till it gets past that point. So that's why I struggle with it. But basically, guys, we still have way too many trucks in the market. The other problem is the reefer market in particular. It's still too early for the reefer market to pick up. It's still too early. Just because we're on a calendar in the spring, we're not really there. Plus, the rainstorms, the atmospheric river that they called in California that brought all those floods, that brought all the snow and the snow melt and all that, it actually washed out a ton of the produce in the farms and things like that. So from everything that we're gathering, and maybe there's more, I'm sure there's more updated information, but from everything that we've gathered is that it has washed out a lot of the produce, which will shorten the produce season, and it will also limit the amounts. So it can really play out one way or another, but it will actually be later. It will start later into the season. So yeah, unfortunately, everything we've been expecting for May, for April and May and things like that, it may have to shift forward. And that's what kind of
and to uncover a little bit, to make it in a little bit shorter terms about to end like the reefer, the whole subject of reefer. Reefer will always be better only when the market is really high. When the market is low, it's same with the drive-in. Maybe you'll see slightly bigger growth, like maybe $4 or $3 or $200 a week more. Yes, but those are also your expenses that you're gonna pay with when you're running the reefer. So if you draw a line after you cut every single expense, you're gonna make same amount of money with the drive-in, with the reefer. The only problem is that if you're gonna rent the reefer or lease purchase a reefer, you are gonna pay much more. If you own it, it's a different story. If you rent it, you saw the difference. A 2016 reefer, $1,300-$1,400 a month. A 2016 drive-in, $700 a month. We're talking about half a price. You can get with $1,000 a 2024 brand new, hasn't been touched yet.
Yeah, drive-ins are a lot cheaper. So here I finally so I'm only able to look through like certain cities and states. So what I'm going to look is just the state of Indiana. I know there's a lot of freight, a lot of reefers, a lot of trailers there in general. So I'm looking at it right now. Here's a 2017 Great Dane. This is probably the same one we saw.
They have a lot out of Missouri too.
Missouri. Okay, so there's that one. Here's $1,000. There's not a lot of details. You may want to do that. Lease purchase programs available, in-house financing available. That's in Florida. These ones are in Florida. Here's their Tennessee. So they have a few different ones. Being 2024, I'd probably stay away. Here's a 7,500 units with 12 to 13 hours, 13,000 hours available, which is fairly low. It's a 2016 unit. So you can, it's $1,200 rental price. You may be able to negotiate a price with them. You're going to be able to make money. You want to make sure it's in good shape on the inside. You want to make sure.
This one is a perfect example.
Oh, you sent me one? Okay, let's take a look here.
Yes. This is a perfect example of a good trailer.
What you're looking for? Okay, there we go. 2023 Great Dane 53-footer, sale, rent, or rent to own. $795 a month. So leasing is going to be $730 USD to $900 monthly, depending on obviously the terms. You have a $2,500 down payment, and you get it for under $1,000 a month, and that's leasing.
And it has everything. It has functioning tandems on the rear axles. You have swing doors as properly as you need. You have aluminum roof, air ride. You're definitely gonna need it if you're gonna run the mountains. Pretty much everything. And it's a very, very good year. 2023, they made a lot of good trailers. They're very solid. Great Dane is a very good company, and you're not gonna get rejected with that trailer ever. And you can easily
wood floors
whenever you want.
Actually, it seems like and Great Dane's fantastic. They're very, very good trailers. They're heavier. Be aware they are heavier. They use more steel. less aluminum. So they are going to be heavier, but quite a bit of climate engineering. Are you referring to the, this is for manual, are you referring to all the downpours in California and all the atmospheric weather, a river as they called it? Yeah, there's definitely a lot that can be said about that, and we'll probably leave that to another channel.
So yeah, we showed a little bit of the trailers. If you need this link, I'll put it in a chat too, just for everybody to have it. It's very, very good. You find a lot of trailers. You find it pretty much everywhere. This is for dry vans. You can roam into the website, look for whatever you need. But that's the thing. Never go as a power only unless you have prepared customers for that. Otherwise, you're not gonna succeed. Just being honest with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Heirloom heritage says, that figures, destroying more food crops and climate engineering. Farmers are also complaining of lack of federal support from the last year's flood, that flooded the springs crops in California. So we generally see this on an annual basis. This year, I mean, it was unprecedented. We haven't seen that type of flooding in California in decades. So yeah, Manuel saying it's a new term. Never heard of that. Yeah, no, they climate engineering is a new term or a newer term. It's much more frequently used nowadays. I was just surprised because I actually didn't see Heirloom Heritage, their comment there as well.
Yeah, and James, the only problem with the 48 flatbed when you want to rent it, the only problem about it is that it's quite expensive.
Flatbeds?
The rates are good and everything, but they're quite expensive to actually rent.
Okay. I think what Alex is, I think what you're referring to is probably the additional cost of all the other stuff you have to add, because you can't just take a flatbed and run it, right? I mean, we're never going to be able to get you any loads without straps and everything else.
Not about the initial rent. I'm talking about, and even monthly. Like if you take a 53, like a newer model, let's say, or 2023, 2024, that's somewhere around $1,200.
Yeah, the 53 footers are awesome,
to
but
rent
expensive.
than a drive-in.
Yeah, yeah, it can definitely get expensive.
Look, the 2017 is $1,100. Well, I'll shoot you an example. And this is a 48. So these are the prices. Actually, before, flatbed used to be cheaper to rent or to buy than a drive-in. Recently, things have changed even on that side.
Yeah.
I'm watching it very closely, and I always check to see if it's still the case. And it changed. Like 48 102, probably as you wrote. 2017 Dunan Diamond, $1,075 a month. 2017 drive-in, you can get it for like $700.
Yeah, not a bad trailer.
Even $600 sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely, it will vary. See, you even got a daily charge, $180 a day. So yeah, there's definitely, you guys aren't seeing it because it's right here. So this is the one that Alex has sent me. So there, I mean, it's a pretty nice trailer. It's got nice spot here, tandems, and you could pop a box there if you wanted to or something. It's got tie downs on the sides. So I mean, it's okay. It's not a bad trailer.
Yeah, probably to buy one, James, you're right. Probably might be a little bit cheaper or more or less at the same price. But for renting is definitely not cheaper.
Yeah, and it's really tough, when you're gonna buy all the extra stuff and then realize that, I really don't like running flatbed in the wintertime. I don't like tarping. I don't like having to stop somewhere in the middle of the night to go tie down the freight, and all that stuff. So I always say, man, think twice before jumping into flatbed. Flatbed is a completely different world, from the drivers to the freight to the shippers and receivers that you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, and especially if you're an owner of a company and you have like multiple trucks, if you want to expand your fleet and you want to take more flatbeds, unless you have a very, very specific reason, like let's say you have a customer that you're hauling for or something like that. I was actually talking to a nice gentleman that will work with us very, very soon. Will start working with us very, very soon. They have four trucks, and his case is actually different because they have also a dedicated that they will. He wants to take. Basically, he has 4 trucks. 2 of them has dedicated. 2 of them wants to put them on the spot market, and one of them he wants it to actually to be on a flatbed. so he can substitute the other two when one breaks down. That's a small thing to do, and that's another story. And he wanted to actually make both of them flatbed, but I talked him a little bit out of it and explained him why. First of all, if you want to hire a driver, a company driver that's going to run your flatbed, is going to have to tarp, is going to have to chain and bind the so go on, that guy is going to cost you more than a driving driver. Usually flatbed drivers tend to ask for more money. That's one side. The second side, you're going to have more expenses on the accessorials. Like tarps, yes, they're expensive too. They can break. Tarps are not going to last forever. You're going to have to rebuy them once in a blue moon. You're going to have to buy them again or fix them or so go on. Fix them, not so much, more like buying them. That's why I would recommend whenever you get yourself a company driver in your company, better take a drive-in. Is the easiest to operate. The money is almost the same. Almost every driver can run a drive-in. Not everybody wants to run a reefer. Definitely not everybody wants to run a flatbed. So yeah, that's pretty much sums it up.
No, you're absolutely right. Not everyone's cut out for flatbed work. Not everyone's cut out for reefers even. Drive-in is definitely the safest bet. But if I still stick to it, if you're a one truck owner operator, if you're just started your MC, if everything you got you put into this trucking company and this just has to work out, this has to work, go with a reefer if you can afford it. Otherwise, drive-in's a safe bet. Stay away from, I would say, as a newbie, as a brand new, unless you really have a passion for it for some reason. I would stay away from flatbed, generally speaking. Yeah, Alex knows he's dispatched all these types of equipment, and he definitely knows difficulties in all three. We have customers that will not tarp. We have customers that set weight limitations on the flatbed. We have customers that have regional limitations in terms of they will not go into mountains, things like that. And it makes it tough because flatbeds, the majority is going to be a lot of tarping. Flatbeds, the majority is going to be very heavy freight. And so when you're cutting out those two aspects of your business, it really makes it difficult for you to make some real good money. But James is right.
The pickup places where you're going to get a lot of good freight is not going to be in the middle of Chicago. You're going to go into the mountains. You're going to go into the cold places.
Yeah.
What do you think? You're going to go? You're going to go to Philadelphia to get some lumber? No, of course you're going to go to Montana.
Yeah, I mean, and James is saying it's good exercise. You just gotta, what does it say? Oh, you just
gotta man up.
You just gotta man up. Yeah, man up. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell that when you want to hire a driver, and you tell him, look, I can pay you 60 cents a mile, and he asks you for 72 cents a mile, and you tell him, yeah, man up. It's not gonna work like that.
No, I mean, there's guys out there that will do nothing but flatbed no matter what.
There are some of them that likes it.
Die-hard guys. I remember Kevin was running it. He enjoyed it.
There.
He loved it, man. He ran flatbed. He loved it. I remember seeing him tarp. He tarps a load and stopped by the office at Lincoln, and it was perfect. It looked like a piece of candy. It was wrapped, man. It was beautiful, and and Kevin really takes a lot of pride in everything that he does, and so it was really interesting to see that. But eventually, he got sick of it. He didn't even do that run that long, And a lot of people do, but there's guys that just never get sick of it. Making roads more slippery and treacherous. I don't know if they're making roads more slippery outside of snow and ice and stuff. Like, look at what's been going on with I-80, some of the stuff on 15 and I-10, and out in California's been going nuts. Wyoming's been going nuts. There was a few states with just standstill traffic. So without a doubt there. But yeah, James, you're absolutely right. For the right people, the right equipment is going to definitely help. Guys, remember, AFT Dispatch, we provide dispatch services. You work with real live human beings. Alex that you see here is one of our dispatchers. He was one of our dispatchers, and he sometimes fills in when some folks go on vacation or something like that, and kind of gives them a little change of pace and scenery, things like that. But there's no automation. We have live truck dispatchers. We keep you loaded at today's top freight rates. As I should be saying more often, stop haggling with brokers and start trucking again. So the truth of the matter is, guys, there is just no way that you're going to get higher rates than an experienced dispatcher for the sheer amount of loads that they're looking at, all the decisions, all the calculations that they're doing on each different lane, all the brokers that they're talking to, all the considerations that are going through for multiple loads, multiple lanes, multiple equipment types, and multiple carriers every single day for years. The amount of experience that they have gained, I always said, and I've actually said exactly this in a very old video 3-4 years back, where I was telling folks that a good dispatcher, they stare at the screen, and it's like it resembles kind of the screen that Neo was looking at in the Matrix, when it's just squiggly lines of green stuff. But they know what they're looking for, and they don't waste their time on the phone talking to a broker on a load just because it popped up and they should get some more detailed information. No, trash is trash. They're going to let everyone else call on that. They're going to look for the really good one, laser in on that one, and tie up the line as soon as the actual good load pops up. They're not going to get to it. They're going to just take care of it.
Put a parenthesis on that, sorry to interrupt you, but sometimes we call on the trash too, and we try to shape it up into a diamond.
Yeah.
We had actually even examples with TQL, which we all know it to be not the kind of broker that will give you a lot of money. We negotiated even $500-600 over the rate and make it from a very, very shitty load, excuse my expression, to a very, very good load. So we also have that where most of us know very well how to negotiate, because most of us work in this sector for a long time. Me personally, I've been doing it for somewhere around 2016, 2017, somewhere around that. So it has passed some time. Most of us have a lot of experience, and we pretty much do this all day. And the ones that remain, like me and the other guys that are still in dispatch as of now, all of us have a lot of experience, and we remained here properly because we love what we're doing. Me personally, like, the guys actually hate me because I talk about work even outside of work, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely very exciting. It's very interesting. There is definitely no replacement for that. Yes, when the markets were up, just about anyone could get you a decent load, especially from good markets and things like that. And even the bad loads and the badly configured ones, and when they didn't do a very good job or whatnot, the averages, they worked, everything averaged out, and people were happy because either way they were making more than they did before. And people were happy with that, and they said, look, it was good. The problem with that is, if you don't take it when the giving's good, if you don't take it when the giving's good, believe me, the markets will flip as they are right now, and it's going to be a time of famine, right? So it's feast or famine, right? So when it's feast, summer of '69. There's Jason. You just gotta take it, man. You gotta make as much money as possible, and don't spend it all. I mean, have a good time, but set aside some funds, because it will flip. What comes up must come down. Take advantage. And that's where it's really super important to have really strong dispatchers, because when a market is super, super hot, the guys will use that same level of intelligence in a market that's way more giving, and that's going to allow you to actually make top dollar versus like, okay, we're finally out of this recession. We're making stable $250 a mile. Hallelujah. Yeah, it's better than what we've been getting, and you will definitely notice that in your bottom line. Absolutely. But guess what? When we had reefers running $20,000 to $25,000 a week in gross income, running, completely 100% safe and effective, ELD and ELD hours of service being completely booked 100% legally. Yeah, I was also talking to guys who at the time were still making $7,000 to $8,000 a week. During the same exact market, same equipment, same thing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these guys were working under, they paid their own insurance, they paid all the operating costs and everything, but all the loads are being booked under some other MC authority. They got some homebrew sheets. They never saw the true loads. The dispatcher might have actually booked it for $10,000, $15,000 runs, $18,000 runs, but they paid them $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 and then kept the difference and charged them a fee on top of that. never actually put anything under their MC authority that they paid insurance under and took liability for the hauling of that freight. They took all the liability, all the risk, and then they got beat up the entire time in the market, getting paid slightly more and never figured it out. And then the market crashed, and they're like, why is the market so bad? Well, it wasn't. Had you saved your money and actually ran during that time, and they did run. They just ran for the erroneous numbers, a lot less. Like it's so bad, because I know that a lot of you guys are watching this are going to be like, what are you talking about? How could anybody possibly allow this? And believe me, like, half the industry is doing this. There are so many, not half, but there's a huge number, way too many truckers out there who are operating this way. They're leaving so much money on the table. They're actually paying crooks. Some of these guys have business relationships with crooks for years who have been taking from them and only been sweet talking to them. Like, they gave them a little bump during the peak of the market. They gave them a little bump, like pay them 50 cents a mile more. And these guys were telling me, man, I will never switch my dispatch. This is the best dispatcher ever. And I was giving examples saying, are you kidding me? Like, we ran the same lane for like twice the money, 3 times the money. Like, how is that possible? And nope. Their loyalty was to that dispatcher who was unfortunately, burning them on every load that they booked with them and just laughing all the way to the bank. So I think I'll probably leave it at that. Don't have any outro music for you, as we didn't have any intro music either. I do want to remind you guys, we are available. Give us a call, text us, 801-448-6363. You can always speak with Alex when you call the line, hit extension 1 for dispatch. When you get in there, Kevin deals with our leasing program. We lease on owner-operators, very inexpensive program. We work with carriers under their own MC authority, very inexpensive program. We provide you guys the proof on the kind of loads that we book every single week in our videos on Fridays at 5:30 Central every week. Last week was good, but I was warned that those were the very, the top of the top, and it just kind of worked out that way. We don't expect that to be every single week, especially in this market, especially with a clear declining trend line. But nonetheless, the guys are able to pour more money. They're able to run you way more efficiently. And while it may seem like I'm not making any money, believe me, what's happening is that you're making way more gross. You're running more efficiently, more effectively. You're running way better than the majority of the industry that's out there in the spot market. And now you have to start looking at your operating costs. So, Alex, anything to add?
Yeah, eventually, if you don't know, if you want to, because maybe you're a trucker, you have your own truck, and you don't know, should I open an MC, should I lease on? Give me a call, let's break up some numbers, let's see what you're trying to do, let's talk it up together, and we'll figure it out what would be the best choice for you. Because I've met people that actually was not such a good idea to open an MC. There were some people that even after calculating everything, it still was a better thing to open up their MC.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Give me a call. Let's run some numbers. Let's see a little bit what you want. What are your plans? If you want to get rich in the sort of a manner of speaking, if you want to make a little bit more money ASAP, or you want to start growing from little to high, depends what you want to do and how long-term are your purposes. We'll figure it out what's the best for you. So give me a call. We can talk even tomorrow. Give me a call and we'll figure it out.
You guys are God's giving on the trucking infrastructure.
That's a high praise. I would not say.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I wanted to make sure I understood that right. Information, you guys are priceless. Thank you very much, Jason. I want to make sure I understood that correctly. I really do appreciate that very much. And we're going to be in much more well put together. I'm actually going to have some stories for you. I just did not want to skip out today. I definitely appreciate you guys with all the questions and everything that's jumped in. I didn't really push the calling today, but we'll have a lot more stories. Alex and I will have some stuff prepared for you. We'll take care of all these audio issues and we'll get the stuff all squared away so it's much smoother and much better. But thank you very much for you guys for bearing with us and taking care of all this stuff. Very quickly, last thing I wanted to touch right here is the A2C Logistics owner-operated leasing program. You can book your own loads. You can let our dispatchers book. Regardless, there's no extra fee for that. We also have IRP plates. You can bring your own plates. Your fuel card, you can bring your own. We have our own programs. There are different things that you can do. You can bring your own trailers. There are different things that you can do. So I would highly recommend getting out to the page, filling out the forms, getting more information right after this newscast. And you can do this by typing in AFT dispatch / your name. So if your name is Bob, AFT dispatch / Bob, pop that in there. It'll take you to the screen. And if you have your own MC authority, you simply click this one. If not, you click the other one. Fill out the forms. We'll get in touch with you guys, answer all your questions, and give you a call to answer the rest. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking around. I'll see you guys next Sunday. And until next week, guys, stay healthy, be wealthy. Thanks a lot for your help, Alex. I really appreciate it. Take care, guys.
Peace out.